Hi, this is Jill Katz and welcome back to my Ask Me Anything. Today I'm here with Gabe Gurman, who is the co-founder of CareerPlace. And Gabe and I were having a great talk earlier, and Gabe was talking to me about his greatest challenge as a leader. So Gabe, tell me, what has been your biggest challenge that you wanted to share?
Well, it's really been about hiring. So over the years in the various organizations I've worked in, I've probably hired well over 1,000 people into my organizations. And there have been good employment times and worse employment times, unemployment times. And nevertheless, I would usually be faced with a large stack of resumes. And one of the biggest challenges, how can I get that stack into a reasonable size? The unfortunate thing, and like many other hiring managers out there, is the process I would go through is something I call the 6-second resume review, which a lot of people talk about. And whatever factor I see on there that I don't like within those 6 seconds, I'll disqualify the resume. The unfortunate thing about that is I've probably gotten rid of some excellent people through that process. So if, for example, if I saw a gap in a resume, I wouldn't want to take the time to find out what that gap was about, although that person could have been a perfectly viable candidate for the position I'm hiring for. So that was probably the biggest challenge, is dealing with getting that list of people down to a reasonable size and figuring out who I'm going to hire at that point.
The 6 seconds that people spend on the resume, that's actually a real thing, and we talk a lot about that in the field of HR. As a person who has headed up an HR department for many years in my career, I know a lot about the 6 seconds. And I would hate to admit that I myself have often spent probably not more than 6 seconds myself.
Absolutely.
People talk about the Z, right?
Yep. Start on the top left, go to the right, go down. Absolutely. And that's what you do. And that's really the mechanism that we would have to go through there. And you know, with the advent of ATSs, which used to just track resumes, and track your applicants through a process, unfortunately they've gotten into the world of 6-second reviews as well, and looking for those things that could disqualify somebody for the wrong reason.
So, well, thank you for sharing that.
No
Such
problem.
an honest share, and I think that so many leaders out there, whether in HR or on the business side, are guilty of the same thing, because we just don't have the time to go through all of the resumes, and there are so many qualified candidates that we might be missing. So before we run out of our 2 minutes, tell me quickly about CareerPlace and what inspired you to found the company.
Well, a lot of it has to do with my background as a hiring manager and that whole process, that it was a daunting process. So with CareerPlace, we're a talent evaluation solution, and we fairly and consistently take candidates through the hiring funnel to find the best fit candidates for a job. But the trick is, we don't start with the resume. So there is no 6-second review. There is no phone screening. We're fairly and consistently evaluating these candidates for the position based on what matters most for the position. So we're all about removing the bias from the hiring process and really making sure that people focus on really what matters to find the right person.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Jill. I really appreciate it. It's great being here.
Awesome. Well, if you have any other comments, or if you've ever also been in the same situation where maybe you've tossed a resume, you haven't spent the time, or if you're a candidate and you feel like maybe your resume hasn't made it through and you have a gap, or you don't think that your resume is getting the consideration it should, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you in this conversation. Thanks so much.
Thanks.